Let's talk a little bit about this. Free the rapper Chin0. Free the UK rapper Chin0. Look at this headline. UK pick up the music connoisseur. UK rapper Chin0, along with 2 other NHS workers, have been jailed for a combined total of 10 years for faking 1,648 COVID jab records. They allegedly made £412,000 selling proof of 847 people so that they could dodge lockdown rules and travel. The judge said that it was a serious offence during the national crisis. Chin0 received 4 years and 4 months. This is a piss take, isn't it? This goes to show you just how different the courts are, depending on what color skin you are, depending on what you are in terms of social class. Because COVID around the world, especially in the UK, but COVID around the world was really the opportunity for a lot of people in higher positions to really scam. The amount of scams that were going on, the amount of fraud that was going on during COVID, from PPE, from records and shit, from stocking of fucking medical supplies, other bits and pieces. That was a time. So many people have done so many frauds regarding COVID. None of those high-ranking, upper class, middle class people I've seen have got jailed. I've not seen a single upper class, middle class person, politician who was involved in COVID scams get sent to jail. None. I've not seen a single one. But a rapper who gained some illegal gains from, taking advantage of a position he had, because I'm assuming most likely the Chin0 guy might have worked in NHS, which is, to be fair, it's a clever hustle. Because if you remember correctly, during COVID, there was a lockdown. And when the lockdown got eased, you had to have a COVID passport, basically a little card you got from the NHS or from a GP that certified that you've been vaccinated, that you could then use to go and travel. And of course, myself included, I only got the fucking jab to travel in the first place because I was locked in at home all the time. You're fucking feeling fucking crazy and you wanted to go out and see the world or just go and do normal things. So people were willing, I would imagine, to also spend money to get the fucking card if they didn't agree with getting the jab, which I also kind of think was a good hustle too, because I still sit here thinking I regret getting that fucking jab as well and fucking agreeing to that sort of shit. But yeah, they keep, like, that's an actual smart hustle. Now, to be fair to the upper middle class people, and to call out my people, the blacks, maybe Chin0 made it a bit bait for himself because he's a rapper. And in this video too, like, you don't really see many people, in my opinion, you don't really see a lot of rappers in the UK showing money. And I'm not too sure if it's done because we're just not that country. We're not like America where people have like money phones and shit. Or if it's just a way to kind of keep prying eyes away from you. Because you don't want to be known as a guy that has like stacks of money in his hand, because some jackboy might come up to you and just try and rob you and shit. You know what I mean? So maybe that's what's going on. But when I remember when I saw this video, when I saw him kind of sitting on the table with all the stacks of cash in his hand, the first thing that I thought when I saw this was like, oh, brother, man, this is going to get you hammed up. I'm pretty sure when I saw this, let me actually play the clip here. There's a clip here, but I'm pretty sure when I saw this, my initial feeling was like, brother, you shouldn't have had those things in your hands, bro. This is going to get you hammed up. This is definitely going to get you hammed up. And it eventually did end up getting him hammed up, because maybe that brought a target to his head, because the police have, access to banking records, access to fucking NI numbers and shit. And if you're on a video, right, holding up that amount of stacks of cash, but then you're noted down on the fucking, tax thing as you're receiving benefits or universal credit, or like, I don't know, you haven't worked in ages, but then you have these stacks of money, it's just not going to make any sense. People are going to obviously start investigating and figuring out what's going on, especially if you've got like huge gaps of employment on your fucking CV. So I'm curious to know if all the flexing that he did with the cash is what got him in trouble. Because like I said before, you don't even see people like, I don't know, I don't feel like I see many clips of even someone like a Central C, a Skepta, with stacks of money, or Dave, you know what I mean? And they're like legit, you don't really see those guys doing it. So I think maybe this guy did too much, that's what I think. I think maybe this guy did too much and it ended up kind of biting him in the ass. But I still think it's out of order. Because again, British white people and shit, they're able to get away with this easily, but my man can't. Let's actually read the article regarding it. It says NHS worker made 412,000 with counterfeit COVID vaccine certificates. Let's actually read it here. It says 3 NHS workers made 412,000 during their lockdown by faking COVID vaccination certificates for more than 800 paying customers. By the way, 412 is only the ones that they were able to figure out. I think they must have made more. There's no way they only made 412. 412 between 3 people ain't that much money. I think they only figured out that amount. They were able to account for. They must have made way more than that. Hakeem, because again, I think the same in the US. There was a bunch of people here in the UK who were very strongly against the COVID vaccine. So I understand why it went the way it went. Hakeem Walters, 29, Raqibul Islam, 31, and Mohammed Ahmed, 27, were employed at NHS administrators as a vaccine centre set up at Westfield Shopping Centre in Stratford, London. They falsified vaccine records for 847 people so they could escape lockdown restrictions and travel abroad, Southwark Court heard. Catherine Drummond, prosecuting, said they ultimately made profits at the expense of the wider public, which everyone did, by the way. Loads of fucking people did that as well. There's actually a documentary now at the moment, I think on the BBC, that kind of talks about the amount of people that made a lot of money. I think it's called like Lockdown or something. There's a show on at the moment. I think I need to watch it actually. I think it's called the show is called The COVID Contracts. Follow the Money. Yeah, it's a documentary that essentially uncovers all that sort of shit. So I'm assuming a lot of people in that documentary won't just look like Chin0. So these motherfuckers, man, like Chin0 gets imprisoned for 4 years. The rest of them don't get no prison time whatsoever. Probably because they could afford better lawyers, I'm assuming, but still, it's so unfair how you can. That's why you see how crazy the situations where people say, "Oh yeah, life is just the same for everybody else." It's not the same for everyone, bro. Honestly, we have to work 10 times harder when it comes to legal things. If you're an immigrant, if you're not white, you have to work 10 times harder in the legal way, and you also have to make sure you don't get caught if you do fraud, because your punishment won't be the same as the punishment as the white person. That's for sure. That enabled those 847 people to enjoy additional freedoms in times of lockdowns, freedoms reserved for those vaccinated against COVID. Why don't you arrest those people too then, motherfuckers? Fake vaccine records. The defendants charged people £250 each for fake vaccine records. So they must have been, were they paper things then? Because I remember when you go, oh yeah, maybe it's official stamp as well if they work in the NHS. Islam had access to national immunization vaccination system, the court heard. Mr. Islam sold his confidential login details to Ahmed for 1,000. The prosecutors for £1,000. So everyone was involved in the scam. So the guy that works for the NHS sold his login to the scammers, and then the scammers used that login to sell the fake records. Cool. The prosecutors told the courts that Islam began to work as a band-free administrator and clerical bank worker for the vaccine project in June 2021. Yo, I wasn't in. People were making money and doing hustles back then, innit? I should have taken advantage of that time. There was so much things going on in that confusion. People took advantage for sure. Every single vaccine record associated with the login was false. He began his work at NHS at the time of the crisis. He obtained wide access. He sold wider access for £1,000. He never created any true honest vaccinations. Once the entries were submitted to NHS COVID app, it showed people were fully vaccinated. That would enable them to travel, attend certain venues, apply for jobs that restrictions were in place. The defendants all admitted conspiracy to commit fraud by false representation and conspiracy to cause computer to harm or perform a intent. They hacked it. Okay. Ahmed and Walters were both jailed for 4 years and 4 months. Islam was jailed for 1 year and 7 months. So selling the login for £1,000 got him 1 year in prison. Jesus Christ. I guess he'll come out in half the time on good behavior and shit, especially with most prisons being overcrowded. But god damn it, man. A year for £1,000 is not ideal, isn't it? Not ideal. Sentencing Judge Sally Ann Hiles said between August 17th and December 13, 2021, you conspired to hack the NHS computer system to create false COVID vaccination records. You did so to make the financial gain for yourselves. The evidence indicates that these conspirators involved more than just you three. There are serious offences committed at the pandemic. Well, get those other guys then, innit? Why are you just only getting me? The risk to the public health is self-evident. The harm was not only individual victim, it was also that can't be identified the damage. Okay, so I guess they're basically saying them doing what they did could have caused inadvertently the deaths of many people, because those people that they said got vaccinated didn't get vaccinated, and they could have had COVID, they could have spread it, blah, 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 blah. But that's a little bit of a reach. That's a bit of a reach in my opinion. It continues. 4 years on, it's too easy to forget how important the vaccine scheme was in preventing the deaths. People no different from your parents who are all have health issues. So yeah, they're all in prison, man. Free China. Free Chino and the gang. Honestly. If others can fraud and get away with it, why can't we fraud and get away with it? This is so fucking unfair. Free fucking Chino. The trio charged $250 for the fake vaccines. That's the whole gang, yeah? Ahmed Mohammed, Rukibul Islam, and Hakeem Walters, 29. Free Hakeem, man. Freedom. Islam had access to the National Immunization Center. Which one's Islam? That one there in the middle. Damn. Mr. Drummond added Islam began by free brand worker. Every single vaccine record was fake. Yeah, free Chino, man. Free fucking Chino. Free fucking Chino. If the whites can scam, why can't we? If the whites can scam, why can't we? Free Chino, free Chino, free Chino, free fucking Chino.